What's good, everybody? Your boy Flan speaks back for another video. Listen, man, it feels really good to be back here in the morning. Coffee with Flan speaks, and we tried to put together a little something special this morning, man. Trying to get the lighting right, getting the lighting right, and studio setups and all that stuff ain't the easiest thing in the world. I tried to give us the nice green ambiance when we speak to Eagles. You know what I mean? We gonna get it together. But listen, this morning, as we prepare for the Philadelphia Eagles' inevitable game versus the Washington Commanders this week, which will serve as the Redskins' second opportunity, to beat us. We remember the first time around how everything was leading up to the game. It was a situation where a lot of people were still in the inevitable Jalen Hurts disrespect. That's the mode we were in. Of course, that's always happening. The Jalen Hurts disrespect amongst whether it's local media, whether it's local content creators, to a lesser extent with content creators, or national media. Who's actually to a lesser extent the local media? Local media is probably the worst. But I do have to give a shout out to 97.5's Tyrone Johnson for being probably the lone voice that I've heard who's consistently defending Jalen Hurts. And I hate the way it looks because Tyrone Johnson just happens to be black. And he's kind of like the lone guy defending him. And it just looks funny. You know what I mean? I don't like that about it. But it is what it is, people. We got the game coming up against the Washington Commanders. This time, I don't expect there to be as much disrespect as people are starting to now recognize the Philadelphia Eagles as being, if not the best team in the NFC, definitely the second. Okay. I think the team that's probably most disrespected right now, more than anyone, is probably the Minnesota Vikings right now. If you look at what they're doing on paper and try to ignore who their quarterback is, you kind of have to respect the Vikings. You know what they're putting on display out there. They're winning. They have a long winning streak. They're winning games pretty handily for the most part. If you look at them, they're probably the second most balanced team. In terms of on the offense, they have the ability to run the ball. They have excellent wideouts. Justin Jefferson, arguably the best wideout in the league. And then you have Addison, who is starting to move into that realm where he's actually maybe close to Devontae Smith. I don't think he's quite Devontae Smith impact, but, he's close to a 1A. Addison, I like him. They can run the ball with Jones. Aaron Jones, I mean, he's not Saquon, but he's a good serviceable running back. I think how Miles Sanders was for the Eagles a few years ago. Obviously, Aaron Jones is probably in that territory. If you look at the Vikings defense, they have a great defensive coordinator in Flores. I guess when you look up and down their defensive roster, you don't see the names that you would see on the Eagles. I mean, I know the Eagles players are young, but they were big-time five-star recruits. Many of them, especially the Georgia Bulldogs that we have now, the Jalen Carters, the Jordan Davises, the Kobe D's, the Nolan Smiths, and then when you sprinkle in the Big Ten Player of the Year, I believe Cooper DeJean was the Big Ten. He was major league in the Big Ten. Quinyon Mitchell, who comes from a school in Toledo, but if you look at what was happening in the college ranks, he was known. Nick Saban actually was hoping that Quinyon Mitchell would enter into the transfer portal so that he could pick him up for Alabama. This was a few years ago. So It's not like he's some unknown commodity, type of guy. So I guess when people look at our defense versus Minnesota's, you see more of the names. And then also the Eagles are ranked number one. But I'm of the opinion that the biggest threat to the Philadelphia Eagles is the Minnesota Vikings, especially when you consider the amount of injuries that the Detroit Lions have. The Detroit Lions offense is still scary, but they actually lost one of their running backs, Montgomery. So now, they're down to one running back, kind of like how the Eagles are. So the Eagles have, you can mention Gainwell as the changeup, but Gainwell, of course, we wouldn't put on the level of a Montgomery, I don't think. So now Detroit is kind of like just it's all heart and great coaching, man. I got to give Dan Campbell a lot of credit for that, But when we meet up, I think right now we're considered the favorite. So leading up into this game with the Commanders right now, there isn't as much disrespect as it was before. The first time we played them, oh my God, I remember these different polls taken all over the place. People asking, would you rather have Jalen Hurts or Jaden Daniels? And this is no disrespect to Jaden Daniels, but like he's a rookie quarterback, and then the amount of people who were picking him over Jalen Hurts was just unbelievable, based on a tiny little sample size, where he was playing a lot of teams that are relatively easy to beat. There was some impressive performances there. Can't remember the exact teams and so on, but I just remember believing this is ridiculous. You got this one quarterback who already on his resume has an all-pro, a Super Bowl appearance where he balled the hell out, was not the reason for his team losing in the Super Bowl. And then to take a rookie with a small sample size and some spectacular plays and immediately put him in Lamar Jackson's stratosphere. This is what some of these people are doing. Now, Washington Redskin fans, I understand. They're delusional. I expect that. But then you had many people around the country. They were saying this type of stuff. And so I don't expect too much of that. Now, when we look at the Commanders have been playing well post-bye. I think the last time we met them was a combination of two things. Number one, they had previously been in a game with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers are very physical. Pittsburgh Steelers are very defensive-oriented, and they are downright dirty, to be honest with you. When you look at Minkah Fitzpatrick and some of those guys, they just flat-out dirty players. Like you're going to come out of that game less than you were. So that's part of what happened, and I think at that time the Commanders weren't really ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so they lost that game. And then then right after playing a physical-ass Steelers, now you got to play physical-ass Eagles, who are even more physical than the Steelers, just not dirty. And they just weren't ready for that situation. You got Vic Fangio, who was a mastermind defensive coordinator, and then you expected Jaden Daniels to decipher what Fangio was doing, and Fangio's using a lot of stuff he learned over the years, dealing with Lamar, dealing with Cam Newton, who he was able to neutralize in the Super Bowl, and a lot of players like that with the Jaden Daniels skill set. So it was kind of, let's see what he does with this, and as we saw, he didn't do very well then. I expect Cliff Kingsbury, though, to go to the lab to really decipher that. So I expect a better, more prepared physically and mentally Commanders team. I expect them to come way better. However, I still don't think they have enough to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. So my prediction for that game is somewhere around, I think we go out there and score about 27 points. I think we will be able to do that. And, and we give up probably around our average. I believe we give up around 15. So maybe the Commanders score 17, on a late score or something like that. But when I look at the matchups in the game, they just favor us a little bit too much. I do expect McLaurin to have a better game. I think it'll be similar to how we had A.J. Brown last week, where McLaurin realizes that he only had one catch the last time he played the Eagles, and much of that was due to a rookie named Quinyon Mitchell, which I don't think McLaurin is going to sit well with him, right? Who wants to just be known as a guy who got shut down by a rookie or contained by a rookie, whatever way you want to look at it. So I think they're going to do. They're going to be way more creative with McLaurin. I expect that maybe him in the slot a little bit. I don't know how often they do that, but I think for this game they may do that. They may match him up with Darius Slay as much as possible to avoid Quinyon. Maybe they'll run different types of patterns that they think Quinyon. I don't even think the league knows what are the best patterns to run against Quinyon at this point. Generally, slants are good patterns to run against, great corners. So I'm interested to see what Cliff Kingsbury does. I do think he'll be more prepared. I still don't think it's enough. Now, what I have been noticing, the one change will be, if we look to the other side of the ball, is Marshawn Lattimore is cleared to play. I believe he played last week. So he'll be out there to help them against A.J. Brown, who historically just torches the Commanders. By the way, Devontae Smith torches the Commanders too, so that's interesting. They do have this number 0. I forget his name. He did a really good job last time when we played the Commanders. So I'm interested in seeing how that tandem will look now with Lattimore and number 0, whose name escapes me right now. But he looks like a really good, young, aggressive cornerback. But let's keep it real. I don't think there is a tandem that can stop Devontae and AJ, really. Dallas Goedert, I haven't heard if he'll be back or not. Probably doesn't really matter. Calcaterra seems to be doing, good enough. And then Saquon Barkley. In the running game that we have, I don't see how the Commanders win, though I expect a tougher game from them. Like I said, I believe it'll be somewhere around 27-17. And you guys let me know what you think on that. You can just put those in the comment section. And once we're done, my little presentation, we'll get to the comment section that you have. Now, what I wanted to talk about briefly was Jalen Hurts. This is real brief. Jalen Hurts after the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, when he came in, with the all black, right? I think he had he might have had on the Kelly Green pants, whatever, but he had an all black. He had on a black vest. He had on the platinum chain with the Kangol turned to the back. Bro, I was dying, man. And trust me, and if you think Jalen Hurts ain't the type of guy to purposely do these types of things, I don't think you understand this dude. He understands imagery. He understands like the look. He understands all of that. All of that was planned out on purpose. Came through like the dawn. See how it is. So that's what y'all wanted to see. And then sitting there wouldn't smile the whole time during the interview. It was hilarious, man. That joint was hilarious. That's that Don stuff right there. And this is the thing that I like about Jalen Hurts, man, is that he's really built for the city of Philadelphia. He's not from here. As we know, he's from Houston. But he's just built for the city, man. And this is why I love a football player whose parents, first of all, well, if they have both parents, I like a father who's either a coach or a military guy. I love a football player who's raised by a father that's either a coach or a military guy, because he's a guy that's going to be serious. He's going to be focused. He's going to pay attention to details. He's going to be coachable. He's going to be the type of person that's understands chain of command, and he's going to usually be a good leader. This is what I found. Just you look at Michael Jordan, father's a military guy. Kobe Bryant was father who played, but these things are important. And that's the stuff, I like about Hurts, man. Coach's son, and so he's built for Philadelphia. It's very important, man. Like Donovan McNabb had the talent to be the quarterback in Philadelphia, without a doubt. I don't think McNabb had this up here, not in terms of intelligence. I mean, in terms of just mental toughness to deal with the people. I think Donovan McNabb always remembered those idiots, them assholes who went up to his draft and booed him on draft day. And I think for the rest of his career, he saw most Eagles fans in that way. And really, that was just 30 dumb dudes who were brainwashed by Angelo Cataldi and WIP. You still got them type of dumb dudes in the city, who hate on Jalen Hurts. You still have that. Even though what's funny is Angelo claims to like Jalen Hurts, but whatever. That's a whole nother story in and of itself. Our next thing we got on tap is the Eagles defense, man. All right, so this has been a question that's been going around locally here. And the question is this the greatest Eagles defense ever? And I'm going to briefly talk about this, and this is going to lead me into a segment that I'm going to start, which is I'm going to spotlight on a great Eagle, because I think this question comes as a result of listen, it's a valid question, but I think it comes as a result of many people not knowing the history of the Philadelphia Eagles and not having enough knowledge of what to compare them to. And I say this because, I'm listening to WIP, I'm listening to some of these other stations, and this came up. And, even Ike Reese was there. And Ike Reese, initially, he's comparing this Eagles team. He compared this Eagles defense, to his Jim Johnson defense. 04, 03, 02. They may have been at their best probably around 03, I think, because you still have Bobby and Troy there and Al Harris there. And they added on Lito and Sheldon, which made the secondary ridiculously deep. But when you look at 04, this was the Trotter who had to come back. So sometimes you got to look at 02 if you want Jeremiah Trotter included, the best Jeremiah Trotter included. So it's interesting to look at that era. So we could just look at the era, not necessarily a particular year. But the team that he said was definitely better than them was the 91 Eagles defense, which without a doubt, most people will say is the greatest defense in Eagles history, if not all time. But what I wanted to do was talk about an Eagles defense that is oftentimes slept on. And that is the Dick Vermeil-led, Marion Campbell coordinated defense of the late 70s and in the early 80s, okay? And in particular, 1980s Eagles defense. Dick Vermeil, my favorite Eagles coach of all time, by the way, because when I was a little kid and my mother we were watching the Eagles and talking about the Eagles and everything like that and watching post-game pressers and all of that, the guy who was the coach of the Eagles was Dick Vermeil. That's the first coach I ever remember just seeing, laying eyes on, right? So, and the Eagles were with the shit back then. You're talking about the early 80s. 80, 81, made it to Super Bowl 1980. So Dick Vermeil, for me, is the quintessential head coach of the Eagles. When I think of the coach of the Eagles, people usually think of either Andy Reid, Dick Vermeil. For me, it's Dick Vermeil, and I'm going to take a look. We'll take a quick look at his defense that he had, all right? The 1980 Eagles defense, like this Eagles defense, was number one in the league. Okay, this Eagles defense right now, number one. The 1980s Eagles defense was number one in the league. So this isn't the first time we were number one. When you look at the rosters, first we can start with the similarities. Many people don't know the similarities are stark. The strength of this particular Eagles defense, one could argue, is the secondary. In my opinion, it's the secondary. The defensive line is a good defensive line, but they're very young. Now, let's start here. The best player on the defense is on the defensive line. Let's not, be naive about that. Jalen Carter is the guy that makes it all go. Okay. And the rest of the guys on this defensive line feed off of Jalen Carter. You can stunt around him. He gets so much damn attention. He's getting 2, sometimes 3 guys. He's getting held all the time, which frees up a Nolan Smith, which frees up Josh Sweat, which frees up Milton Williams and all these different guys. And it allows the linebackers to roam freely because they don't have to deal with a lot of defensive or offensive linemen. They're so busy dealing with Jalen Carter that Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, who already knows how to play off of these guys, can just make all types of plays. So don't get me wrong. Jalen Carter is. Now, during the 1980 Eagles defense, the best player on that defense line was Carl Hairston. Carl Hairston was the defensive end, who was, before Reggie White came, probably the greatest defensive end in the Eagles history. And what I'm going to do eventually is put together my all-time Eagles team. It's going to be the best all-time 53-man roster. And right now, Carl Hairston, for me, is the guy opposite Reggie White. It's not Clyde Simmons. It's definitely not Hassan Reddick. It's not Trent. It's not even Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham might make my 53 roster as a backup. I'm not sure. But it's Carl Hairston will be on the other side, of course, of the great Reggie White. The question now is the middle linebacker. We'll say Zach Bond right now is playing out of his mind. He's putting up the numbers to be an all-pro. That's the type of numbers he's having. But on the 19 of Dick Vermeil's Eagles, who did he have? They had a middle linebacker by the name of Bill Bergey. Bill Bergey was a middle linebacker who was like a 5-time All-Pro, which is hard to do. I watched one of the NFL films, the old NFL films put together with John Facenda doing the talking and everything. And John Facenda described Bill Bergey as the best middle linebacker in the NFL. All right, so a lot of people don't know about him, but that's who that was. So that's hard for me to say that isn't the greatest middle linebacker in the Eagles history. It's definitely not. I would have to say 1980 maybe had. Well, though Bill Bergey may have been hurt that year. I got to look into that. But Bill Bergey would have to go over Zach Bond because he was like considered the best middle linebacker and like one of the best in the 70s, period. All right. The secondary now is what gets interesting because the secondary is where I'm going to speak on my spotlight on a particular Eagles legend. And right now, the hall of rage about our secondary is because of the drafting of both Cooper DeJean out of Iowa and Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo, who've played, there's no such thing as flawless play, but it's almost so damn flawless. It's beyond what we expected. Cooper DeJean playing probably the most difficult position for a cornerback, which is in that slot. Because when you're in the slot, you got to look out for linebackers. You got to look out for offensive linemen. The receiver can cut right, can cut left. You got to be ready for all of that type of stuff. It's very difficult to play slot corner. You don't have the sideline as an aid where you can push guys out of bounds and so on and so forth. So to see the job he's done at the slot early on is ridiculous. Is magnificent. Though that doesn't put him over Quinyon because initially the plan that Vic Fangio had was to play Quinyon Mitchell in the slot because when they were in OTAs and training camp practices, Quinyon Mitchell excelled in the slot. So you got two guys that actually can play in the slot, which is crazy. But Quinyon was doing so good out there on the left, on the right side, if you're playing on DBs on the right side, that they're just keeping them out there, and you don't interrupt that. because he's not letting balls get over his head. He hasn't given up a touchdown all season. That was his fault. The one against the Rams was actually the fault of Sidney Brown's, not his. So there's nothing more you can expect. But what was his comp in 1980? His comp was a famous player by the name of Herman Edwards, who's actually my spotlight player that I want to talk about here. Lot of us we know Herm Edwards from NFL Live. From I think he'd be on Sports Center now. Herman Edwards was drafted in 1977 by the Philadelphia Eagles. This was Marion Campbell, his first season as the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. Herman Edwards, as you probably know, is more famously known as a coach. Whether you're talking about the Jets or later the Chiefs or later where he's coached at Arizona State, where he actually coached Jaden Daniels. He was Jaden Daniels' first coach in college before Jaden Daniels, the coach of the Commanders, entered into the talent pool. The talent portal and ended up at LSU. Right. So this is part of the reason why we're going to talk about Herman Edwards today. All right. When Herman Edwards was drafted in 1977, he was an undrafted free agent, undrafted rookie free agent. So oftentimes people think guys undrafted, he's not going to be much of anything. Herman Edwards tells the story in one of his biographies where, he was there during training camp, and Herman Edwards was kind of like looking around. And he asked Bo Outlaw, who was one of the Eagles' preeminent corners at the time. This is in 1977. And he asked him, how many corners do we keep out here? And he said, we usually keep about 8 corners. So Herm just said, all right, so who's going to be the other 7? All right, so Herm though he was undrafted, he was very confident. And Herm, what he predicted was right. Marion Campbell took a liking to him, to his aggressiveness, to his size. Herman Edwards was a big corner. He's 6 feet. And he ended up starting. And Herman Edwards, now this is the question now. Who had a better rookie year? Quinyon Mitchell right now has an opportunity to win Rookie of the Year. Right now, he has better odds than even Jared Verse of the Rams, the defensive end rookie, right? Who's been tearing it up, in a lot of people's opinion. Quinyon Mitchell has a chance to beat him out right now. But Herm Edwards in his rookie season had 6 interceptions. Damn near led the league in interceptions, right? Herm Edwards, that's what he did. His first year, a lot of people don't know that. Obviously led the Eagles in interceptions that year. Herm Edwards' second season, Herm had 7 interceptions. Okay. And this is probably the one thing when we look at Quinyon that we want him to do is probably get his interceptions up, which I think will happen. I think one of the major problems is Quinyon isn't tested enough. There were a few interceptions that were right in his hands that he dropped, right? But look at that. What was a better rookie season? Herm Edwards 6, or Quinyon Mitchell's like not allowing completions. You know what I mean? I guess it depends on what you value. Personally, I like those corners that get interceptions. Not the guys get beat regularly and get interceptions here and there. But that was Herm Edwards. He goes on to start, of course, in the 1980 Super Bowl, where he did give up one touchdown, which pissed me off. But it was kind of like to the running back, so it wasn't really his man. He was kind of playing zone, and the running back ran over there. But during that job, he had to stick to Great Cliff Branch. For those you don't know, number 21 for the Raiders, and he did a very solid job. He used to do a solid job on the Cowboys receivers like Drew Pearson, the ish talker who was talking crap. He did a real good job on him. Here he was locking up Stallworth from the Steelers. Now this is from history buffs, man. I love this stuff. I love this stuff, man. So for me, and when a lot of people talk about great Eagle corners, people forget about Herm Edwards, man. And we don't do that here, though. We don't do that here. Hopefully this year, Eric Allen will finally make it in. All right. So when I do my 53-man Eagles roster, I guess I'm giving away a couple of them right now. My number one guy at corner, of course, is Eric Allen, because I just remember watching Eric Allen with my own eyes, and I've never seen a better Eagles cover corner. So that would be my guy. But now I'm debating who's the other guy. Is it going to be Troy Vincent? Is it going to be Herman Edwards? But Herm has some impressive numbers. And when Herm Edwards retired from the Eagles, or when he left, not retired, his retirement was from the Rams. I think he went to the Rams and played 1 year, retired. But when he left the Eagles, he was second all time. He was one interception away from the interception record, being the all-time interception leader for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, let's give it up for her, man. He went on to be, a good coach. Definitely a great defensive backs coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tony Dungy. You know what I mean? So just wanted to put a little spotlight, man, on the great, coach and analyst right now, Herm Edwards, man. All right, let's see what we got here going on, man. HD. I see a lot of my homies in here, man. Valère, salute, OG. Yeah, what's going on, bro? I saw your video yesterday too, going in on CC fans and all of that stuff. You had me dying, man. Your front four is dangerous at Fulham. Listen, our front four is, but it's because of Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is a record, right? And the other guys pretty much play off of him. Now, I'm impressed with the development of Nolan Smith. Our defensive end coaches and development guys are doing a great job with him. Because coming into this season, I wasn't of that opinion, but many were of the opinion that, Nolan Smith wasn't going to be anything. He was going to be a bust. I never do that personally with rookies. I look at his intangible or his measurables, and they just jump off the page. Of course, he's undersized, but the guy runs a 4.3. So you're talking about he's almost as fast as Micah Parsons and those types of guys. I don't know that he has the bend in his turn that like Micah has and those types of things, or the explosiveness, but he has the speed, and he's improving, it seems like, every day. He's listening to his coaches and so on. Josh Sweat is good when Josh Sweat has a guy like a Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, who he's playing with, that he can work off of. You can send on different stunts, and you got to be creative with Josh Sweat. He's really going to, beat his guy, one-on-one like that. But with Jalen Carter, I agree. The front four is dangerous. Absolutely. It's a rival game. It's going to be close, but I got the Eagles. Yeah, probably. I definitely expect a better Redskins to come out this time, for sure. I think Kingsbury will probably have Jaden Daniels a little bit more comfortable. The game plan, you figure, has to be better. This time they're kind of riding high, whereas like I tell people, last game they played a physical Pittsburgh Steelers game first, then they had to play us. Like, I don't care who you are, to play two physical teams like that. And then earlier they played Baltimore at some point, and then you got to play the Steelers. And then immediately at the Steelers, you got to play our physical asses. That's like, it was a bad spot for them. This would be a little bit better spot for them, but I just don't think they're ready yet. The Commanders, I think, are a team on the rise, but they're like a year away, maybe two, in my opinion. So I got Eagles by 10, 27, 17. Yeah, that's about where I'm at with it. Yeah, somewhere like that. Yep. We don't really give up 20 points like that. That's true about McNabb. Agreed. Yeah, McNabb was my man. It's just not that he wasn't smart. He could read defenses and all of that. It's just more of the dealing with the adversity and the blocking out the noise and all of that. Yep. Said Jalen Hurts' ability to not react to the BS and stay the course has always intrigued me, even at Alabama. Yeah, same here. Same here, man. He built the right stuff, I don't know people that are into astrology, but he's a Leo. People say a lot of Leos are like real focused, and then they just got the right amount of arrogance and confidence, and they just kind of, see themselves as leaders, and you know, maybe that's part of it too. I'm not no person. I'm not an astrologist, but this is what they say. Maybe there's something to it. Mental toughness is really rare in the NFL. If you mean amongst quarterbacks, I agree. But just to generally be in the NFL, you got to be pretty mentally tough, just to make it there. So I kind of respect most of those guys, on one level. They didn't fall off in high school like most people, or didn't fall off in college, But to be that quarterback that has it, I think it's rare, because your mental toughness got to be on another level beyond just the mental toughness that it takes to make it to the league, Absolutely. Jalen Carter is the next one. Right now for me it's Chris Jones. I like DeMarcus Lawrence as well. There's a couple other guys I like. Seattle has a nice guy. I forget his name. But Jalen Carter, I think, is that next one after Chris Jones, And if they weren't holding him every damn play, his sacks, he would be double-digit sacks. They weren't letting – I don't understand. They weren't letting people just hold Aaron Donald, right? They would call that, but they letting people hold Carter. I don't get it. So Carter was a real problem in Georgia. Trust me, my Gators know about him. Yeah, I bet. Dean Smith as well. Bad things in my old Nike commercial. Bruce B. Yeah. So I misread the title, but you're right. Going to watch the command. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I would love a nice, easy game, man, where nobody gets dinged up and players are drinking Gatorade, eating hot dogs halfway through the third quarter with their helmets off. That's what I hope. But more than likely, man, whenever we play these damn annoying-ass NFC East teams, unless it's the Giants, it's rarely like that. The Giants are more of a quit organization lately. Them damn Commanders they hate us. Even in 2022, that was the only game we lost prior to week 14 maybe. The Commanders are going to fight. We just got to make sure we pull it out. Quinyon balling, in my opinion, go with Verse, because them losing Donald, he has changed the Rams defense around a short period of time. I wouldn't be surprised if Quinyon wins. Yeah, I thought Verse was going to win. And his main reason is Quinyon just doesn't have the interceptions. You know what I mean? I'm actually surprised that they're looking beyond that, because Verse, I think, has how many? He has almost 10 sacks, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's like he has. If you were to take them side by side, look at raw numbers, a lot of people would go with Verse. But Quinyon, I'm surprised. They're looking at the fact that, like, Joe Burrow literally would not even look over there. It was crazy. He was just going here. Like, he was acting like, all right, he saw something on film and said, I ain't even messing with him. That was crazy to me, because most of them gunslingers will try you. I was hoping, okay, when we play Stafford, when we play Burrow, that they would just be, uber confident type of dudes who would test them regardless. And I was shocked they were avoiding them. What I thought was crazy. Damn, Alfredo, how many times you put your joint up? You got your joints up here like 10 times. So Allen was nice. No, Allen was great. Eric Allen was great. And it's a shame this year, that it's taking this long for them to finally make it. Don't you know that, like, Rod Woodson and Deion Sanders really have been right? They were like talking to voters and writing voters and stuff like that. Like, yo, what are y'all doing about Eric Allen? Like, this was Deion Sanders and Rod Woodson are of the opinion, yo, this dude should be in there. You letting in, they ain't mentioned dudes' names. But I remember around the year when Champ Bailey got in and a couple other guys got in, I remember Deion was talking real reckless about some of the guys they letting in. Now, I'm not saying he was talking about Champ, but, I couldn't believe Champ got in before Eric Allen. And I get it, he was on the Super Bowl team, but come on, man. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. A lot of people love Champ Bailey. I thought he was overrated when he played. And I remember dudes like James Thrash, like just killing him on double moves. I remember times when Ocho Cinco embarrassed him. T.O., like, let's not even get started. Whereas Eric Allen, man, was like holding down Jerry Rice and like really competing with Sterling Sharp and dudes of that ilk. Andre Risons and these guys. And Isaac Bruce, I seen him one time, damn near shut out Isaac Bruce. It's like, come on, man. Come on, man. All them dudes know who he is. And he got the respect of his peers. Like I said, Deion Sanders, Rod Woodson, both of them have been writing, these voters. Like, y'all tripping. So I think he'll get in this year, probably with that added help. And it shouldn't have even taken that. So, man, Troy Vincent was a D. I like Troy, too. I like Troy. Yep, I like Troy. Yep. I like Troy. But Troy just, I like Troy. Yeah. Yep. But I don't know if Troy's going to make my 53-man roster. I'm not sure. He'll make the 53. He's not starting, though. Herm is right. Herm. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't see Herm as an Eagle, man. And that's just not right. I don't know. I'm hoping, man, that he has like he can come to the NovaCare complex and walk through there. But my concern now is those guys who were pre-Jeffrey Lurie. They're not like I don't know if they're as beloved as the guys that are post-Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie is the current owner, who took over the team in the 90s. Because you don't even like Reggie White and guys like that, Seth Joyner, Eric Allen, should be just as heroic and beloved as Doak and Kelsey. Like right now, people act like Kelsey is the greatest Eagle ever. No, he's not. We got Kelsey on. Kelsey was a great player, no doubt about it. The greatest center we've had, I guess. I didn't watch Chuck Bednarik, who was just rated as like the top 3 Eagle ever. I didn't watch him, so I don't know. Kelsey's greatest center I've seen. But what really got him on was his speech after we won the Super Bowl in 2017. Because prior to that, there was actually people on the radio saying Kelsey was too small. And in 2016, they were saying Kelsey actually had a bad year. So 2017 was like a bounce back for him. What started happening was that year, our running game was so crazy with LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi that, now you got the Dan Orlovskis and the Brian Baldingers and all of them spotlighting Jason Kelsey and his getting to the second and third level on those blocks. That's really what kind of like put him out there. And then, of course, his speech after his classic speech after the 27 Super Bowl. That's really what blew Jason Kelsey up. But, like, make no mistake, Reggie White was a better defensive end than Kelsey ever was a center. He was a better defensive end than Dawkins was a safety. Seth Joyner was just as good a damn linebacker as Kelsey was a center. And we got players like this all throughout Eagles history. But it seems like the pre-Lurie guys, the before Lurie guys, aren't getting as much love as the post-Lurie guys. Even though Seth Joyner gets some love, though I had to go at it with a couple of Eagle content creators who, because the idea was out there before when we got Fangio and all of them, and we were searching for a defensive coordinator. There was a big push from some of the older Eagle fans like myself. Yo, throw Seth Joyner up in there. Like, I would love to see Seth Joyner. And I knew that because I remember the impact that, because a lot of people, credit different people for the turnaround of the 49ers. And me, I know it was Mike Singletary. That was really the turnaround of the 49ers. A lot of people just thought that, if you played in the 80s as a linebacker, you wouldn't understand the NFL now. Like, yo, stop all that. Stop all that, man. You would understand the locker room, all of that. Now, Mike was a little intense for that locker room, whatever. But Seth ain't as intense as Mike Singletary when it comes to that. And Seth's knowledge of the game is crazy. He was actually the smartest player on that 91 Eagles defense. Smartest player. And I remember some content creators up there saying, well, Sub Jordan ain't never had no experience as defensive coordinator. Like, he don't need all that. You know what I mean? He don't need none of that. He done dealt. He played in the NFL almost 15 damn seasons. You know, he don't need all that. But whatever. There's a little side thing. Got to give them the yeah, exactly. Them CC fans and facts. Yeah, them dudes is crazy, man. Coming in my comment section said talking about, oh yeah, mentioned something about your girl Kamala didn't win. Like I voted for Kamala. I ain't voting no damn Kamala, and I ain't voting Trump either. Sometimes I just don't vote. Like most of my voting is for local guys. Like who's going to be the judges in the area, who's going to be in control of these police officers that's really affected me, who could be in charge of like the local treasury. Like those are the stuff I care more about. Like the president, like he's so far away, he's not even affecting you like that. But like the president more so foreign policy and stuff like that, you know. And I don't even want to get into that. You know, people get all sissified and all that when it comes to politics. So, no, who said that fool ad? Nolan is not yet. No, there's a lot of people around here. Like, if you ain't popping automatically as a rookie, and really he wasn't even getting time, they just automatically think you're a bust. Like, this is what happens, right? In Philadelphia. This is what happens. You have a player like that the coach ain't putting in. The local media will assume, all right, the coach ain't putting him in for a reason. Like, and they think the reason is he's not good. That's what they assume. So they just automatically assume players not good. Sometimes coaches don't put players in because, well, last year we had Hassan Reddick for one. He's just further down on the depth chart. Like, yeah, I was going to say there's a depth chart, you know. And sometimes, like, and guys don't get better until they get real reps in real time. And you shouldn't be assuming that the coach thinks he's bad. And he didn't. It's just he was a rookie. And he was like what, 5th, 6th in the depth chart. And I hope I'm not muted. Facts. Eric Allen was always disrespected. You said you did it like 10 times. No, I see him. I see most of the. I see pretty much all the comments, right? So one thing for sure, the Eagles always have good defense. Not always, but you see that defense last year? Woo! Now the good thing is this city prioritizes it, and the city doesn't like. Because the interesting thing, like about our owner really prioritizes offense. He said it. If our owner could like have an elite offense and a mediocre defense and win, he'd be happy. He really would. But I think like this city is so irate about defense, and we love defense to where like he kind of ain't had no choice. Now there's certain things Jeffrey Lurie does prioritize with defense. That's defensive line without a doubt. But these guys, they believe you need a line, you know, some good corners, and then you'll be all right. With the linebackers, you'll figure it out. But hopefully what they're seeing is linebacker play is very, very, very important. Linebacker play is very important. As Seth Jordan always says, you know, the linebackers are hybrids between a defensive lineman and a DB. They're like a hybrid who can rush the passer and cover. And those are guys you need. Those guys are very important. And I've always agreed that there has never been a great defense, all-time defense, that didn't have great linebackers. Like, if so, fill me in. You know, you look at the Bucks' great defenses. You look at you talking about Derrick Brooks and then Hardy Nickerson before him. I always liked Hardy Nickerson actually more than Derrick Brooks, but Hardy was just wild. But then you go to the Bears, you know, you go to the Eagles defense, all the great defenses, even the Legion of Boom and the guy Wagner. Like they always had great linebackers. We didn't agree. We seem to agree on stuff, the controversial shit like that. The fact that Jordan was awesome. Mike Singletary, yeah. It was Mike Singletary, yeah. He set that mentality. He made him a defensive squad. Harbaugh just kind of like did the Steve Kerr of the Mark Jackson thing. See, last year a lot of y'all players were hurt. Well, yeah, but that damn defensive coordinator, he wasn't Fangio. Fangio's like doing things out there that I ain't seen the Eagles defensive coordinator do in a long time, you know. So Fangio's a major part of it. And then we added in 2 corners. We got Bradbury up out of there. Bradbury, he just getting paid to just sit home and watch. Right now he ain't hurt. I don't think he hurt. He's just like, but Bradbury's stand-up guy, man. He realized, he wasn't playing well. He like, it is what it is. It's one thing I give Bradbury, man. I didn't mind giving Bradbury a shot at maybe playing safety, but he couldn't play cornerback for this organization again, not after last season. You need a good defense, not mediocre. Yeah, I agree. Yep, I agree. You see Lurie and Howie? It's Lurie. It's Lurie. Howie is the guy that goes out there and, of course, pulls the trigger. But Howie's the guy that really manages the checkbook and manages the cap, But other than that, he really does Lurie's bidding to a degree. But they've improved in their scouting department. So they have a lot of guys that are better scouts than we used to have. And Howie's doing a better job of taking the common sense picks, right? Whereas before he'd always try to find the diamond in the rough. Like he would pick Arcega-Whiteside over A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf. Remember that year when we were just didn't know how to get receivers? Like they were always looking for that diamond in the rough. So they'd go all the way out to the Pac-12 and try to find guys and go all the way out, like wanted to be credited for just finding something that nobody else thought of. He realized that shit almost lost him his job. So now he takes the common sense picks. You got Devontae Smith, who won a Heisman Trophy. How about I go get that guy, right? You messed up on A.J. Brown the first time, so let's see if you can grab him from the Titans because you missed him that first time when they wanted him. So you end up and you go get him. You grab your tackles. You can grab a tackle from Oklahoma. We know that, Lane Johnson. But grab them guys from Alabama. Grab them guys from Georgia. Grab, common sense stuff. That's really the difference how he's doing. That's really the difference between Howie now and Howie before. He's not trying to be the smartest dude in the world, in the room. What he's doing, he's just going out there and just grabbing the common sense guys. Yep. Jalen Carter. I'm just happy that those teams decided to allow that little distraction he had to not grab him. I'm glad they allowed that. Whatever it was with the car accident, that I think he was just in the car or something like that. And most of those teams said, "Oh no, this guy's a problem." Okay, good, right? We'll take that chance. But also we already had Jordan Davis. We also had Nakobe Dean, so you could ask them about him as well. And then part of what you do is, man, you put it on Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis to help you deal with him if it's that sort of thing. And I spoke earlier about what happened with him being hot-headed and smacking that Pittsburgh Steelers guy in the head. That bothers some people. That stuff don't bother me. And a lot of times with players like that, I'm glad they kept Nick Sirianni from going over there. Because what Nick was about to do was just yell at him and berate him in public. And sometimes players don't like that, man. They don't want to be played. Now, the coach, if Nick deals with him like on Monday morning, Tuesday morning, during the meetings and tell Jalen Carter, we can't have that That's different. But what he was about to do was cause a scene, and sometimes you lose a player like that because, these players these days, my damn, coach, you had to play me like that. And then if you're talking to a second string, third string guy, that's cool. But a guy you need to be locked in, to do what you need to do, make no mistake, you need Jalen Carter. Like trying to play him in front of everybody just to make yourself look like the big coach ain't always it. Ain't always it, man. Without a doubt. DeJean and he said Quinn DeJohn. Yeah, Cooper DeJean, who's Caitlin Clark's little buddy for the Clarkies that come in here. And then Quinyon Mitchell. I don't call him Guantanamo Bay yet. He gotta do a little bit more to earn that from me, but I think it's funny, that he's called that. And it's funny, he really don't get tested, man. Been great. So what else did we have on tap here? I think I pretty much hit everything, man. Talked about Coach Herm. Eagles and Commanders, not much to talk about. So we almost on an hour. So yeah, I think I think we're going to end this here, man. Look, man, thanks for everybody coming out. We had good participation today. Build this thing up. Like I said, if you're not subscribed, please do so. We're targeting that 2K mark right now. Like I said before, once we hit 2K, the subscriber that hits 2K, we'll do something special for you. Maybe you drop your Cash App or whatever you got, your Venmo, and send a little prize, your gift card, something like that, or whatever we could do. Or hey, I might do something special, man. Might get an autographed Eagles helmet, Eagles autograph framed Eagles photo, something like that. We thinking on it, man. But the point is, please like, share, subscribe if you are not already. And we will get with you all later, man. See you all tomorrow morning. Peace out.